Hello, everybody. In this clip, I want to speak a little bit about the Whistleblowers Directive, how it applies to small organisations, and have a look at the WRC website here in Ireland for the basic information that all employers need to know. I might have said this numerous times before, but Irish government websites are very good at providing information relevant to rafts of European regulation. In particular with whistleblowers, it's an excellent resource. Keep in mind that this applies to all EU jurisdictions and would include EEA jurisdictions. And in the UK, it's covered by the Public Interest Disclosures Act. So that's just important to note. Having said that, all of the legislation in this regard is very similar. Certainly with regard to the size of your organisation, this already applies since the 1st of January 2023 for organisations of 250 plus. For those of 50 plus in number, this is going to come into effect on the 17th of December 2023. And after that date, all organisations should have policies and procedures in place, particularly for internal reporting. And you should also do your own little bit of research for the jurisdiction you're in. But there are various types of offences that, and penalties that would apply. And having said that, having a quick look at this link, this gives us a real good source of information on the scope of the legislation itself. So the types of offences. In particular, I want to point out the breaches of European Union law, in particular because we would work with a lot of organisations on GDPR compliance using ISO 27001 very specifically. And having said that, where we act as data protection officer or EU or UK representative for organisations, we would have to deal with data protection disclosures that would need to be treated confidentially. So this whistleblowers legislation actually is very useful because it provides that benchmark framework for us to use. So, furthermore, how can we help? Well, let's look at these other tabs. ISO 37002 came into being in 2021 to coincide with the legislation. This in fact is a European norm, which means it's a standard that's been adopted by all EU jurisdictions as their national standard for whistleblowing management systems. And the abstract kind of gives us a few bullet points here. This particular section and gives you an indication that there's a framework there in true form to all ISO standards. It's been developed through participation globally with over 160 countries involved and adopted then for the EU with the specific legislation considered throughout the standard. This, along with a more recently published standard, ISO 37008, came into being in July of this year, 2023. And this really complements the whistleblowing standard insofar as it provides that framework to support the investigation and maintain confidentiality throughout when you combine them two together. So how can we help? Let's consider, first of all, making contact. We can open up a conversation, get online for maybe a Zoom or a Teams call, Google Meet if that's the system you use, discuss the requirements for your organisation and see if there's anything we can do. We would use the two standards that I've mentioned, plus ISO 9001 and others, to help organisations prepare for all compliance matters. Alternatively, you can send us an email, contact us on the VoIP, or just follow us on the LinkedIn company page and keep up to date on all matters compliance relevant to ISO standards. Thank you.
Enable ISO. It doesn't need to be complicated.